Maxwell Lord and Darkseid's forces have kidnapped the child new god. What plans do they have in store now that they have this new power? Serifan smiles as he sits before the TV, a bowl of popcorn in his hand. He barely notices the other forever people around him as they mingle with each other and others. He is too focused on the TV cowboy that moves around the screen. The history of the world flashes before his eyes. Mankind reaches the moon. America fights in Vietnam, but it always came back to the cowboys. Later, Serifan would look to his friend, Dreamer, and ask her if their lives would always be in the pursuit of godhood, but she smiled at him. "You are prone to melancholy, Serifan. Remember, these doubts are why the darkness was able to touch your mind. You mustn't fall the same way again," she had said. Serifan nods, as if that answered all his questions, and steps away, once again sitting before the cowboy on the TV. The decades pass. The era of the internet, streamers, and tech companies arrive. Serifan continues to watch, even when he is on his own in a lonely motel room. But it always comes back to the cowboys. 6 shooters in hand, horses riding into the sunset. Serifan watches it all. Now, Maxwell Lord looks down at young Kamal and wipes the blood from his nose. "I suppose all the excitement must be getting to me. Not every day you hold the destiny of the gods in your hands," Lord whispers with a smile. Kamal just stares blankly ahead, his mind overtaken by Lord. But Serifan suddenly finds them, anger flashing across his face. "Lord, this is not what we discussed," Serifan snaps, pointing out that at no point had it been discussed that they were involving the remnants of Apokolips. Lord glares at him for a moment before pointing to the Omega symbol that had burned into his forehead. "What did you think this meant, Serifan?" he growls, pointing out that Serifan knew the truth, but merely decided against believing it. "Because you thought this was your moment, at last, to be relevant," Lord snaps. Serifan points his finger like a gun and warns Lord to watch his tone. But suddenly, Serafin's finger breaks at the knuckle and he hisses with pain. Serifan looks up to see Desaad approaching them, smiling as he straightens his own finger out. "I, for one, think you've been incredibly useful, and I can think just one last thing I'd have you do," Desaad whispers. Meanwhile, in New Light, Mr. Terrific stands before the new gods and explains that Kamal has gone missing and that Serifan has also disappeared. "We're not quite sure what to make of Serafin's disappearance, but it's safe to assume that the boy's been taken," Miss Martian tells the group. Orion growls and reaches for his helmet. "We will bring him back at all costs," he says as he stands and stalks towards the door. But Mr. Terrific bars his path, pointing out that the new gods going on a rampage on their new home will look bad for his people. "You think I care about how things look?" Orion asks as he leans down towards the hero. Barda stands at the war table. "You should, Oathmaker," she calls out. Scott stands before him as well, reminding Orion that his people look to him now for guidance, not merely battle. Finally, Orion sighs and nods his head before looking back to Mr. Terrific. "What do you recommend?" he asks. Terrific explains that they need to work with precision. The new gods should pair with members of the Justice League to show the world that they are working in tandem with the heroes of Earth. "Do we even know where to begin?" Barda asks. Diana nods. "It's Maxwell Lord," she says simply. Miss Martian nods in agreement and explains that they found evidence that he was working alongside the survivors of Apokolips and hid their arrival with the new Genesian ship. "Apokolips scum," Orion growls. Quickly, Mr. Terrific tracks an Apokolips energy signature in one of Lord's warehouses. Diana boom tubes in with Orion, Mr. Miracle, Barda, and Akala to the location. This place looks abandoned. Akala notes as they step through the darkness. But suddenly, blades zip through the air towards the heroes. Diana blocks one with her wristband, while Akala creates a shield to protect himself. Orion merely catches one in midair and snaps it in half. "Harriet!" he snarls. The heroes ready themselves as the Furies step out of the shadows and surround them.
"She was supposed to wait until you were a bit closer, but what can I say? She's always been a bit mad, that one,"
Granny Goodness says with a smile as she steps out alongside Stompa. Behind them, Mr. Terrific notes the energy signal is surging. The roof of the warehouse folds away and a ship slowly begins to rise. "They probably have him aboard," Mr. Miracle says to Orion. The two glance at each other and prepare to pursue the ship, but Stompa jumps forward.
"You aren't going anywhere scot-free,"
Granny Goodness shouts. Stompa rears back and throws a powerful punch at the hero, but something is in her way. When the smoke clears, Barda stands before her. Her battle staff took the blow and turned it aside. "Go! We've got this!" Barda shouts to her husband, but suddenly a force field appears over them. Scott smiles as he easily passes through, escaping the confines of the force field. Orion reaches into his pocket and pulls out his energy staff, which quickly transforms into his hover bike, and he smashes through the energy field. Scott stares at him in surprise. "No problem," Orion grunts without a smile. Below them, Barda and Diana now stand back to back and prepare for their battle against the Furies. "Just us then?" Diana notes. Barda nods. "Just like old times." But Akala is there as well, creating shields to block Harriet's attacks. "I surmise you two have done this before?" he asks. Diana and Barda lets out cries of battle as they rush at their enemies. Meanwhile, the Apokolips ship has broken through orbit and opened a boom tube, with Scott and Orion quickly following them. The radio crackles as Mr. Terrific reaches out to the two heroes, warning them that they discovered a deep space map in Lord's files, and that they were studying a massive, strange black hole somewhere in the darkness of space. "We think that's where they're heading," Terrific warns them. Orion nods and glances at his friend. "Scott, when we find the boy, I'll do what it takes. You bring him back to his family and to New Light. He trusts you," Orion orders. "We'll get him back, Orion. I know we will," Scott tells him as they head towards the boom tube. "Whatever it takes, we cannot lose hope twice," Orion says as they fly into the portal. Meanwhile, back at the watchtower, the Lanterns, Terrific, and Miss Martian are studying the black hole, surprised by the level of radiation it is giving off, and worried what might be on the other side. "You know, as long as whatever it is stays on its side, I say leave it be," Hal points out. But suddenly, warning alarms blare as something appears over Earth's orbit. "John, what is it? More new gods?" Hal shouts to John Stewart as he checks the readings. "No, I think this is what they were running from," John says as he points to the Niktari warships appearing through the rip in space. And that was the complete story for issue 10 of The New Gods by Ram V. Earth's forces are about to take on the Niktari. How will they fare against the forces that drove off the New Gods? We'll just have to wait until next time. So, like and subscribe for notifications of new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I'm Dan with Comicstorian, and we will see you next time. Rest in peace, Benny.